Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 6 and 7 of the SSRi Simsport Racing International GT4 Season 3. After a thrilling round at Snetterton, we stay in the UK, taking a 2-hour drive south around the east side of London to the Garden of England and the brilliant Brands Hatch circuit, once the home of the British and European Grand Prix. The 3.916km undulating circuit utilises the natural elevation changes of the Kent countryside and manages to pack a whole lot of character and challenge into its deceptive 9-turn layout. Back at Brands for the first time since the opening round of Season 2. We had plenty of rain then, and it looks like it's raining tonight. Your commentary team this evening, it's myself, Tim Fulbrook, and I'm delighted to be joined once again by a certain Mr. Chris Hill. Chris, Brands Hatch for you, one of your favourites?
You either like it or you don't. I've done a few laps around here, so I actually know the circuit reasonably well. Can't name any of the corners. I can tell you the ones I've crashed at. But yeah, it's reasonable in my books.
And made all the more difficult by the wet weather it looks like we have out there this evening. Well, we have now passed the halfway point of the season. It's worth taking a look at the top 3 in both the overall and AM championships. And in the overall category, off the back of another dominant win, Aaron Martin Pilkington leads the way in his number 626 BMW. It's 240 points accumulated through winning 4 of the 5 races so far this season. That's not without being pushed hard in many of those by his competitors. Bart Sverink lies in second place, 30 points off the lead, following 4 consecutive second place finishes. The brace of BMWs hold a 45-point margin over Danny de Swart's Mercedes, but that gap can be quickly eradicated if drama befalls the leaders. And in the AM category, James Like has actually scored enough points to have the third highest tally of the entire grid. The rookie's 192 points puts him just ahead of Bas van Mellis on 186, who too fits inside the top 10 overall thanks to his strong finishes at Alton Park and Snetterton. Stefford Arvidsson lies third in the category in his Ginetta on 160 points. So that's how things stand coming into tonight's event. It's 2 races again this evening. Similar format to the race at Bathurst, 2 half-an-hour sprints. The drivers score maximum points actually in both races. We haven't split the point scoring availability, so there's plenty of opportunity to make up championship disadvantage, but also set about building a points advantage over your competitors. Hello as well to everyone watching the live stream. Do let us know who you're cheering on this evening, your thoughts on the race, and of course, if you do like what you see tonight, please hit the like button and subscribe to the Simsport Racing International YouTube channel to keep up to date with all the sim racing going on here. Hello to Jordi Bakker, who's tuned in at the moment, and he wants to know, Chris, why you aren't out there in a GT4. Now, we had this conversation last time at Snetterton. Have you had a go in the GT4s yet?
Breaking up. Can't hear you.
Sorry.
Yes, I actually have. I've driven a couple of nights practice because I knew I was going to come and do the commentary with you. And I thought I'd give it a go, and I actually quite liked it, so much so that next season myself, Simon Pike, certain Mr. Steve Proudley and another will be forming a dominant team to enter the GT4 Championship on SSRi. That's the wind out of your sails, isn't it?
Well, that's an exclusive, isn't it? I don't think that one was announced anywhere else, so we've backed that
Steve
one
doesn't even know
tonight. No, I'm sure that'll be brilliant stuff. Looking forward to seeing you guys then out on track. Well, speaking of being out on track, the grid have headed out for the first of our 2 qualifying sessions tonight. Let's cut over to the Brands Hatch circuit. It looks tricky out there at the moment, Chris. The track is damp, which means the grip's not all there. Certainly a room to be making errors with the track in that condition.
Yeah, and it's, as I alluded to before, it's not an easy track to stay on. Certainly the corner that Andreas is coming up to right now, people tend to run wide there. Actually, it's beautifully demonstrated there.
Yes.
Now, whether that's because of the damp, I cannot tell you. But yeah, there's corners that are going to be very tricky in the wet.
Well, at the moment, it is Andreas Garlin who is the fastest out there. We are just over 9 minutes into the session, so we're not quite at the halfway point just yet. But it is the 188 Mad Goetze Racing, the bright pink and black Aston Martin that leads the way. He set a best time of 1:35.9, but he only holds an 0.08 of a second advantage over the second place driver, Peter Vanya, who's had a pretty strong season so far, as it looks like Garland pulled off to the side. Sem Spenkelink now goes fastest in the number 1 Maserati. He sets at a 1:35.412. That car's going to be a handful, if not 2 handfuls this evening in these slightly damp conditions. The Maserati obviously lacking the traction control and braking assist, as we see Danny de Swart getting a huge slide on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend, just avoiding him there. I think that's our championship leader, number 626, Aaron Martin Pilkington, who then opts to dive out of the way at Druids and potentially find himself some clear track, allowing the CBSR Racing Mercedes to continue on his merry way. So let's run through the top 10 then, as we had just over 10 minutes. It's Spenkelink ahead of Garland by half a second now in the standings. That's a margin he'll be pleased with, but no doubt looking to extend it even further. And in third, it's Vanya ahead of Xander Vale. In P4, Danny de Swart in 5th ahead of Tim Krul, and Aaron Martin Pilkington in 7th at the moment, our championship leader. Actually just being knocked down a position by Bart Zverink, who's hopped up to P7. Then it is Colin Hines in 9th ahead of Tom Young, who rounds out your top 10 at the moment. So things are fairly close, a second separating the top 9, but that's something we find, Chris, isn't it, in the wet conditions? It provides plenty of opportunity for the gaps to start opening in the timesheet, and if you do get it right, you can find yourself flying forwards on the standings.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting, especially towards the end of the session. We've got another 8-9 minutes to go, and as soon as people start trying to set their fastest laps, I mean, there's no rain at the moment. It is just a greasy track. It's unlikely that the track will dry up in 9 minutes. In fact, it's probably impossible that'll happen. But I'm no expert.
We'll have to wait and see. It looked like there was a slightly lighter racing line on the run down into the final corner at Clark. So potentially the track conditions now starting to come towards the drivers. Dennis Verkman heads up out over Surtees, and he's got a 7/10 advantage on his best time. That would see him smash through Sem Spenkelink's 35.4 if he can continue on his merry way into the right-hander at Hawthorns. You dip down and then climb up the hill through the right-hander. Then it's a short shoot down towards the right-hander at Westfield. He's continuing to apply the load on the left side tyres as you dip through Dingledell and up through the right at Sheen. Sure you don't run too wide because the grass will bite, and it does there for Workman, but he does a very good job of getting the car back on the grey stuff under the brakes, then into the Sterling's corner. The left-hander very banked through there as well. You can carry a lot more speed than you think, and the blast under the bridge and back into the arena section, if you like, into Clark Curve, where you can see that drying line, the lighter grey track surface. A bit of a wiggle for the number 444 Cayman as he comes across the line. It looks like he's going to smash through Spenkelink, Simon. He does, and 1:34.8. That sees him go half a second faster than anyone else so far this evening, and judging by his run through Paddock Hill Bend, he's looking to push on and improve. Andreas Garland, who was our provisional pole sitter, slips back down to 3rd place, 1:35.9, his best time, and it looks like he's headed back out on track now. So this is his first attempt at responding and trying to climb up the order from P5, as Colin Hines has improved, as well as Aaron Martin Pilkington now to slide on to our 2nd row at the moment. So it's all change as the track seems to be improving. Temperature's 15 degrees C ambient, track temperature 20, so it's still fairly chilly out there. The racing world, it's not the high 30s that we can see in other circuits, and not the very high track temperatures of places like Misano, when the Mediterranean sun has been beating down on them on the middle of the day. So into the right-hander at Sheen, up through the blind right-hander. BMW in the way though. This could potentially cost him some time. Not too sure who that is in front of him on track. Potentially Nicholas Malott, who moves over to the left-hand side in the number 22 machine. Comes into Clark through the right-hander. Let's see if Garland can improve. He's currently 7/10 up according to the delta on the left-hand side of our screen, but I'm sure we'll get an updated time as he crosses the line, and yes, he does improve. Goes up to P3. So Chris, it looks like the drivers are finding time in this final few minutes, but traffic is a problem here at Brands Hatch. You don't want to be coming across slow cars.
we need to follow Aaron Martin Pilkington. Apparently he's nearly a second up on his time.
Let's have a look then as he comes up towards the line, over a second, and there it is, a new fastest time, a 34.7404 from Aaron Martin Pilkington, the number 626 BMW. He goes back on pole position by a tenth and a half from Dennis Workman. So all that work Dennis did set a really strong time at the top. He's going to have to do it all again if he wants to reclaim that pole position. But on your screen at the moment, the pink and black Aston Martin, Andreas Garlin, is improving. He's another driver with a fair few tenths in pocket as it stands. Comes up to the right-hander at Westfield. As the track drops away, it's very easy to understeer out. And you can actually see there the drying line he's sticking to avoid the more greasy parts of the circuit. Through the blind right-hander at Sheen, everything looking fairly in control at the moment for Andreas. Nothing out of the ordinary, no massive slides or runs in deep to the corner. So looking smooth and quick at the moment, under the bridge and in towards Clark. Let's see if he can hold on to this time. In fact, it looks like he's found another few tenths, potentially a second in hand here as he runs through along the Brabham Straight and up to the start-finish line. Let's see where Garlin goes, and he goes to pole position, a 1 minute 34.173, so it changes hands once again. Aaron Martin Pilkington is in pit lane as well, so it looks like our championship leader might be running tight on time in an attempt to respond and reclaim top spot. At the moment, Garlin ahead of Martin Pilkington, then it's Dennis Workman and Danny de Swart. Peter Vanier rounds out your top 5 with Sem Spenkelink, Tom Young, Tim Kroll, Mike Abramhoser and Patrick Tractor, your top 10 as it stands. But in these final 4 minutes, that could all change as quickly as we've seen it. Tim Kroll now comes to the line. He's got a second in hand, and as he crosses the timing beacon, he jumps up the order to P2. So Martin Pilkington pushed even further down, and in fact the championship leader is now out on track. He sees the opportunity to respond. Potentially the best conditions we've had so far this session. 3.5 minutes to go as we see Dimitri Schenk here in the number 8, in the number 21 Mercedes. Down in 21st position. He's found about a second or so, if not 1.6 seconds, I'm hearing, as he comes along towards the start-finish line. Let's see where he jumps, flies up the order, up to P7, a fantastic time. The driver of the stubborn Owl Racing he did a great job of the lap previous, but it seems at Paddock Hill Bend, a small mistake from Dimitri sends him off into the barriers on the inside, but this proves that the margins are tight here at Brands Hatch. And speaking of margins, Garlin finding another 6 tenths, crosses the line, lowers the bar even further, a 1:33.594, our first time under the 1 minute 34 mark. Goes to Andreas Garlin in the 188 Mad Gertz Racing Aston Martin, but plenty of drivers are out there responding. Look at the delta on the left-hand side of the screen. There is a lot of green next to the drivers' names. Kroll, Hines, Workman, Van Mellis, de Swart, Banyan, Spenkelink, all inside at the top 11 and all finding a fair few tenths advantage over their previous best. Let's keep with Tim Kroll here in P3. He's got a few hundredths to his name, but as he crosses the line, it looks like he improves. Yes, a 1 minute 34.275. Still, sees him 0.003 of a second off the front row behind Dennis Workman. Here's your championship lead then. Aaron Martin Pilkington, P5 at the moment, at 1:34.7 his best. And as he makes a mistake on the exit of Graham Hill Bend, he tries to gather the car up, but no, spins to the inside, clatters the wall. I get the feeling that's qualifying done for Martin Pilkington. The best he'll start is P6 at the moment, as we see Sem Spenkelink jump up to the second row of the grid in P4. So he was out on track there, was Martin Pilkington, to respond, but hasn't been able to, making a mistake on his quick lap. He had the slight influence of traffic there from Dennis Workman, but he cleared the Porsche Cayman fairly comfortably. A mistake, sure, just from touching the wet curbs on the outside of the Graham Hill bend and running wise and trying to gather the slide. As Garlin improves, a 1:33.453, so he's flying at the moment. Danny de Swart stays 6th. As here through the final corner, Bas Van Mellis, he's got 7 tenths in hand. This will see him fly up to potentially the second row of the grid in the Mode 11 Racing Cayman. He crosses the line, and he does. P3, a 1 minute 34.194 from the number 11 Porsche Cayman. That's a stunning lap from Van Mellis. who flies through Paddock Hill Bend. I wonder if he's got any more left in the tank of the brightly coloured machine. Can he improve his time at the final time of asking? Less than 40 seconds on the clock now, so drivers will have to be out on track and gearing up for a hot lap. They won't be able to head out now and make it round in time. So Bas van Mellis, though, through the opening sector of the lap and through the left-hander at Surtees, is finding more time. Peter Vanier, though, on screen at the moment in the 34 Sim Racing Holland machine, through the Sheen curve and towards Sterling's into the left-hander. He's got time in hand as well, a quarter of a second. Putting very close to Garland's time, but it might not be enough as he comes down towards the Clark curve through clearways into the right-hander. It's all very settled, nothing too quirky or unusual there through the final corner. So the drag towards the timing line, he crosses it now. He does improve a 33.8. Sees him improve his time, but it's still not enough to beat Garlin, who goes quicker again as he collects the checkered flag of 1 minute 33.192. Garlin nearly has 7/10 over the rest of the field. The 188 Aston Martin is flying this evening. Let's see, can anyone stop him from claiming pole position? Botts Ferring leaked to P2 in the number 12 Sim Racing Holland BMW. That's the position he seems to have been all season so far as he jumps up to the first row of the grid. Peter Vanier's in pit lane. Bas van Mellis hasn't found any more time, and Dennis Berkman slides wide on the exit of Clark. He tries to keep it going to cross the line and improve, and in fact he does. A 34.6 on the grass, sliding through the wet lawn here at Brands Hatch. Surely Brands Hatch, track limits violation there on Jonathan Palmer's lovely mown lawn, but of course he does improve and actually stays 6th, but no, drops down to 7th place at the death there. As crossing the line, Patrick Tractor jumps up to P5. A spectacular final lap from the driver of the 313 McLaren. Now, Chris, I'm going to take a deep breath, but what a qualifying session that was. But Andreas Garlin looking very quick at a pretty sizable advantage at the front of the field. Looks to have things settled in that car and looks to have the conditions under control.
It does. That was very impressive and quite a pleasure to watch. A bright pink car going around Brands Hatch at such speed. Aaron Martin Pilkington. I can't remember where he finished, but he was certainly out of the top 10, who you would normally expect to be right up there. He had that off into the barrier on his final flying lap, and I believe he finished in P12. Excuse me. So yeah, very interesting session. Hats off to anybody that finished that session and really improved. Bas van Mellis shot right up the timing order. Finished in 4th. Patrick Tractor was 5th, if I'm correct, at the end there. So yeah, really good session, and obviously the track was drying, but it was still greasy. I'm sticking by my defence there.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, it looked like that you didn't see too many mistakes, actually. There were a couple as drivers finished their laps and potentially just tried to give it a bit too much through the first corner at Paddock Hill Bend. Dimitri Schenk is one of those that comes to mind, but impressive times nonetheless for the entirety of the grid. A few more people have dropped in the YouTube chat. Hello to Oliver Anderson, Aaron Van Drunen as well, saying hello and dropping in, as well as Nicholas E and Lan Manify. Thank you very much for joining us here this evening at Brands Hatch. I might remind you, it's 2 races we have tonight on the menu. We will have 2 main courses, 30-minute sprints, no pit stops required. It's a flag-to-flag action here. We will, of course, have a second qualifying session to set the grid for race 2, which is round 7 of the championship in total. So another opportunity to make amends for race 1. Drivers are now taking to the grid, and we will be cutting over to the action shortly for grade lap, etc. Chris, Brands Hatch, in terms of racing side by side, or at least making overtakes, there are opportunities to do it into turn 1 and the hairpin at Druids, the second corner, but really have to have a compliant rival, don't you? Because there's not much room for error. The grass and the walls are very close.
They are. I'm proud to say in this league, though, most of the drivers are quite compliant with each other. You very rarely see banging of doors and deliberately ramming people off. It won't be allowed in our community anyway. The stewards would soon put a stop to that. But yeah, as you say, there's limited amount of overtaking here, and obviously whatever I say now is just going to be proven wrong.
Commentator's curse. Well, let's say there's going to be no overtaking, and there's going to be plenty of incidents, because then commentator's curse, flip that on its head. We'll have some great racing.
Brilliant psychology there.
There we go, exactly, yes, manifesting it indeed. So the order on the grid as the drivers take their positions is Andreas Garlin, who will be starting from first alongside Bart Sverring. The BMW driver has finished second 4 times, and 4 times in a row this season. So he spent a lot of time in P2 as that number 12 BMW, but he's got a great shot at finally getting that win next to his name. Then it's on the second row, Peter Vanya and Bas van Mellis in an all-Cayman. Second row, third and fourth. Van Mellis, the fastest of our AM category drivers, and he's got cars actually between him and his next competitor in that championship. And I wonder whether we'll see Baz pick up another class victory as he did at Snetterton with a 6th place finish. So there's Patrick Tractor and Dennis Verkman in P5 and 6. That's your third row, with Colin Hines and Tim Kroll 7th and 8th. And it's Sem Spenkling and Daniel Herkstra rounding out your top 10. And it's Danny Desport, Suke Vervat 11th and 12th, with our championship leader eventually rounding out the session in P13. The number 626 BMW of Aaron Martin Pilkington has plenty of work to do if he's to continue his streak of race victories. Then it's Dimitri Schenk joining the BMW driver on the 7th row. Evan Natafas and Stefan Arvidsson round out your top 16, with Tom Young, Frank Hopp, Mike Abrenhoser and Arjun Lermans completing your top 20. Jan-Paul Eichenboom, Nicholas Malott and James Like your top 23 positions. And hitting the order then we have Lee Mosley starting from the back of the grid. There is one car in pit lane, not too sure who that is. I'm sure we'll get confirmation as we come round. Looks like the number 65, which is the Aston Martin of Frans van der Linden. So it's something on a ride there for the driver of the Aston Martin. Fingers crossed he might be able to rejoin once the race has gone green. So the order forms then 2 by 2 under the bridge, down towards Clearways and into the Clark curve. They are side by side. Picture in picture, just for a helping hand, is focused on our championship leader. Let's see how his first lap gets on and how the first run through the tricky Paddock Hill bend goes for the driver of the 626 BMW. So the order formed as we roll through the Brabham Straight and towards the start finish line. We're ready to go green here. 30 minutes, round 6 lay ahead of us, and we take the green flag, and it's a good start from Andreas Garlin, who's able to hold the inside line and see off any attack from Bart Sverring, who attempts to go the long way round at Paddock Hill Bend, and he might just get it done in the number 12 BMW, and he has as they climb up the hill towards Druids. The number 12 takes the lead from the 188 Aston Martin. Then it looks like Peter Vanya is able to tuck in behind in the number 34 Porsche. In fact, it looks like Patrick Tractor's managed to make the move on Bas van Mellis as well. As you can see in picture, Aaron Martin Pilkington has made it through the first couple of turns cleanly. There's plenty of traffic in front of him, including one of his closest competitors, Sem Spenkling, ahead in the green and gold Maserati. They round through Surtees and then they'll thunder towards Pilgrim's Drop for the first time. The order looks to be stretching out there, the grid filing down into single file, but not just yet. Side by side contact there between Martin Pilkington and the McLaren of Tim Kroll as they climb up towards Hawthorns, and the BMW is going to have to let the McLaren go in this chance as they come down towards Westfield Bend. Martin Pilkington second, settles for P10. So Sverring snatches the lead off the start with Chris, what I can only describe as a very brave move around the outside.
Very brave. I'm flabbergasted. It's the second time I've used that word today, and my new favourite word. But yeah, that was an awesome move by Bart there. Clean.
As well. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely clean.
Side by side through Paddock Hill Bend isn't easy to do, but both our race leaders able to complete that first turn without incidents. Veric then leads the way, but he is chased hard by Andreas Garland as they come up towards Paddock Hill Bend the second time of asking, separated by 0.3 of a second at the start finish line. So they are nose to tail as they round Druids and then drop back down the hill towards Graham Hill Bend. They've managed to gap the rest of the field slightly now, so 1.9 seconds then back towards Peter Vanya's number 34 Porsche. And there's a streak, as we see, potentially a move for the lead. Yes, Garland goes up the inside in towards Surtees. The Aston Martin driver looks to have had the job done, but he leaves just a lane there for Bart Sverring to take his line. Still remains clean between the two of them. No contact as yet as they go under the bridge. And Pilgrim's drop. It looks like the BMW's got the legs in the straight line. Pulls back alongside the Aston Martin and gets the move done. But Sverring runs slightly wide on the exit. Garland cuts up underneath in towards Westfield. And they exchange pictures. Exchange moves twice there as picture in picture. Sends Spenkeling side by side with Dennis Burke when he runs wide and drops back behind Aaron Martin Pilkington. Looked like they were nearly 3 or 4 wide at one point out of the corner of my eye there as they thundered down towards Hawthorne's Bend. Aaron Martin Pilkington now up to P8 with a couple of drivers running wide there, but they're chasing now the Maserati of Sem Spenkelink in front. 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, etc, etc, all in the same camera shot there as Spenkelink runs slightly wide through Clark Curve. That might allow the BMW driver to make a move, and he's coming up round the outside towards Paddock Hill Bend. Spenkelink, you'd think, would have the high line, but we have seen a BMW go the long way around once already this evening. Spenkelink able to defend his position though, holds on to P7. Aaron Martin Pilkington has now got inside the top 10. He's P8 but hurried on by Tim Kroll. Get the feeling though that 626 BMW isn't going to be staying in P8 for much longer as he looks for a way past Sem Spenkelink on the run up towards Druids, down the hill through Graham Hill Bend and now towards Surtees. He's tucked up right under the rear wing of the number 1 Maserati Gran Turismo. In picture there, I think that's Dimitri Schenk battling away with Daniel Herkstra, as well as the Ginetta of Stefan Arvidsson. They're going 2 by 2 through Pilgrim's Drop as further ahead. Aaron Martin Pilkington tries to go the long way round at Hawthorne's. They are still side by side, and the BMW has got the move done on Sem Spenkelink. A fantastic move there. The Spenkelink is still looking for a way back past, trying to counter-attack through Dingledell and up towards the Sheen as Martin Pilkington skips the grass on the outside, both on the way in and the way out of the Sheen curve. That leaves him vulnerable to a pass by Spenkelink. Can't quite use the banking of Sterling's to get the long way round at the left-hander. Martin Pilkington, it takes a few corners, but he's got the job done. Now up to P7. Climbing his way up the ladder, 25.25 minutes to go. He's now got a gap to bridge of over a second to the battling duo in front, which is Colin Hines and Bas Van Mellis. That's a fight for the AM class lead. Van Mellis, at the moment, has just had to accept that he's a little bit slower than the McLaren at the moment, but I'm sure we will see that brightly coloured chicane and make a move. That the grid is starting now to compact actually these positions of 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, almost down to Dennis Workman's in P11 all together on the road. They will nearly fit in the same camera shot as they come through Surtees. It looks like there's been drama behind. Daniel Herks was definitely in the grass there, and that's another Aston Martin. I think it's Suke Vervat as well, off in the grass on the exit of Graham Hill Bend. So a couple of advantages finding disadvantage off in the grass there as Frank Hopp gets a little wiggle on the exit of Surtees. They're 2 wide ahead. This is Arvidsson and the BMW of Nicholas Malott going side by side in towards Hawthorne's. Arvidsson trying to go the long way round but can't quite hold on as Dimitri Schenk turns his Mercedes into a lawnmower there on the exit of Hawthorne's, but gets back on the grey stuff. Now, Aaron Martin Pilkington looks to continue his climb. Hunt stayed in front of Sem and now looks for a way past Bas Van Mellis on the run down towards Clearways and Clark Curve. He is towards the inside, can't quite get the job on the brakes, a little bit of a tap and nudge. A touring car pushed to pass potentially there for Aaron Martin Pilkington as they drop through the right-hander along the Brabham Straight towards the start-finish line and towards the inside. Martin Pilkington up the inside into Paddock Hill Bend and completes yet another pass, continues his climb up the GT4 ladder Now in towards P6, Van Mellis tucks in behind, is able to stop Sem Spenkling, immediately making a passes behind side by side. That's Danny de Swart up the inside of Tim Kroll into Druids. Mercedes now trying to go around the outside. Graham Hill bend, and no, they're still side by side, but like Danny de Swart's just had enough speed there to get in front as Spenkling sends one up the inside and potentially made contact there with Bas Van Mellis. He scoots all the way around the outside, and there's a bit of miscommunication. They are 3 wide on the run down Pilgrim's Drop. You've got Danny de Swart on the inside, then it's Sem Spenkling boxed in by on the outside. Tim Kroll in the red McLaren's going to go the long way around the right-hander at Hawthorns. Van Mellis manages to hold on to the position for now. There's a bit of rubbing between Van Mellis and Kroll as up the inside goes Danny de Swart on Sem Spenkling. So it's all changed at the moment, shuffling forwards and shuffling back. And now Dennis Berkman sniffs an opportunity to pass the Maserati, which runs slightly wide on the exit of the Sheen curve, and everything calms down just for a second for me to catch my breath. But Sem Spenkling making contact with the back of Bas Van Mellis there, opting to back out of it though, do the right thing, do the sportsmanlike thing, and just back out and let the Porsche reclaim his position. But that wasn't without traffic jam seeming to form on the run down towards Hawthorns as Martin Pilkington looks for a way past Colin Hines in the picture. The flight now for P5 is a big slide from Sem Spenkling in towards Paddock Hill Bend. He manages to gather it up as further ahead we see more contact between Bas Van Mellis and Tim Kroll at the Druids hairpin there. Even stays in front of McLaren for now as Danny de Swart skips the grass on the outside, 2 wheels in the dirt, sees him continue on his way and run all the way out wide on the exit of Graham Hill Bend, and there's side-by-side contact unfortunately there with Dennis Berkman. Porsche sent spinning to the inside. What a shame as Sem Spenkling's also having quite the wrestle there with Tim Kroll on the exit of Surtees, and the Spenkling Maserati getting a slide on as well as he applies the throttle. Tim Kroll comes to the inside of Bas Van Mellis, gets the job done cleanly. It's a car between himself and Sem Spenkling. Now up to P7. Yeah, bear in mind this is a fight for the outskirts of the top 10. Shows you just how hard these guys are fighting, and that every point matters in the championship. We are 9 minutes and 10 seconds into this 30-minute race. It feels like we've had an entire sprint race already, but Chris, things look very intense out there as Bas Van Mellis catches a slide. That's going to allow Sem Spenkling up the inside, finally get that move done, and actually Danny de Swart rather optimistically follows through as well. Open the door for Tom Young, but back to my point, Chris. Hard racing here at Brands Hatch, but we are seeing that you can't quite get a move done in one turn. It maybe takes 2 or 3 to get the job done.
Yeah, as I've put in the chat there, I've got my eyes closed. I can't watch some of these moves that are going on. It's just astounding. Three down the straight. Oh, gee. It is awesome to watch this stream, even with my eyes closed.
Brilliant stuff. Well, Danny de Swart then in P9, but only after making a pretty spectacular move there on Bas Van Mellis, following Sem Spenkling through into Clark. So we've had a third of this race, 10 minutes of the 30 minutes here of round 6, but bear in mind that's only 10 minutes of the hour of racing we have ahead of us this evening, with 2 races here at Brands Hatch. It's Andreas Garlin who's now looked to extend his lead. 2.6 seconds he now holds over Bart Sverink in P2. Then it's Peter Vanya having a strong performance in P3 in the number 34 Cayman. Patrick Tractor in P4 ahead of Aaron Martin Pilkington, who's now going to try and close down a 3.1 second gap to the number 313 McLaren. Then it's Colin Hines, Tim Kroll, Sem Spenkling, Danny de Swart and Tom Young. That battle pack we've been enjoying the last few minutes ahead of Bas Van Mellis, Nicholas Malott, Dimitri Schenk. And 2k further your top 15. As the pace is certainly there for Aaron Martin Pilkington as the BMW crosses the line. He sets the new fastest lap of the race, and that gap to Peter Vanya has been totally decimated in that previous tour. Brands Hatch circuit is now 2.7 seconds, so he's taken a large chunk out of number 313 McLaren. And Spenkelink looks to go the long way round at Druids. He uses that high line, continues the speed and momentum. Going to see him on the inside for Graham Hill Bend, and up the inside of the red McLaren. Tim Kroll loses a position, and once again Danny Deswart doing his best to follow that number 1 Maserati through and in towards Surtees. He's got the job done. So every time Spenkelink makes a pass, Danny Deswart follows through and has done once again. So it's all changed once again in this group. Spenkelink now up to P7 ahead of Tim Kroll, Danny Deswart and Tom Young the top 10. Further down the order, the racing is just as hard. Look at this quintet here. James Like, Jan Eikelenboom, Stefan Arvidsson and Arjun Lermans, with Dan Herkstra as well, together on track and going through the right hand of Hawthorns here. Arvidsson in the Ginetta looking fairly feisty, but also in good control at the moment, with the 2 Mercedes ahead. Looking like they're going to start battling it out. And Chris, that's sometimes the best way to make a move, isn't it? Not making the pass yourself, but letting the others do the work for you in either slowing each other up or opening the door, as we're seeing from Danny Deswart.
Yeah, if we remember back to Snetterton, Danny had an absolute mare of a race. He was off the track at the side and having to give positions back. But tonight, he seems to be following Sem quite closely and through on every pass. I'd say. Want to watch Stefan try and pen this position. It's not looking likely, is it?
BMW has the legs in the straight line.
Fortunately.
Getting through past the Ginetta, and that's one thing about GT4s, isn't it? We see these characteristics play out a bit more. The BMW is certainly a rocket in a straight line. And I don't know if you've had a chance to drive the Ginetta yet, Chris, but it certainly seems to lack in the long flat-out sections. I'm sure Stefan Arvidsson is aware of that slight downside. Once again, we see that play out in front of us, but. Yeah, the racing's been clean tonight, but we're seeing that it takes a couple of corners or the door to be opened, and if you're in a battle pack like we've seen, Chris, you don't necessarily need to make the move. You can let the fighting take place around you and gain positions that way.
We like to call that the Jedi route, which I won't say I've mastered, but I'm working on it myself. But yeah, the racing is close, so much so that the people at the back are working their way to the front by not having to do a great deal of work, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Makes plenty of sense. I know exactly what you're saying. Well, a driver pushing hard and actually making a slight mistake on the run through Sheen curve. It's Aaron Martin Pilkington. He's now all over Peter Banya's number 34 Porsche on the climb up the hill towards Druids. He's going to go to the outside. 626 on the outside, number 34 on the inside. They make slight contact on the exit of the corner. I don't think there was anything malicious there, potentially just too close to each other, not giving the room, and as they run down the hill into Graham Hill Bend, the job's done and the BMW's through, heading up towards Surtees, and the Porsche did look to the inside. Vanya wasn't able to counter-attack there. But now Aaron Martin Pilkington up to P4 as further down the order. Jan Eikelenboom looks for a way past or looks to defend, and behind the BMW of Arjun Lermans and Danny Herkstra had a run through the fairly limited runoff at Druids. That's allowed Stefan Arvidsson to continue holding on to his position in P20. Brought Frans van der Linden, who, remember, started from the pit lane, well into the action now in P22. So they're still fighting away that quintet. As further up the field, Frank Hopp looks for a way up the inside, and indeed an attempt to defend his position from Mike Abrenhoser's number 21 BMW. And on the exit of Hawthorns to the inside, Suke Burvat looks for a pass into Westfield. Can't get the job done there. So we're seeing plenty of changes up and down the order. But Hopp now in 15th place, holding on to it for now. But it looks like Burvat will be looking to a way through shortly. Andreas Garlind out front as we hit the halfway point for this first race. Got nearly 5 seconds advantage over Bart Svering's number 12 BMW. Then it's 3.2 seconds back to Martin Pilkington, now up into P4 from P13 on the grid. 2 seconds off the podium as it stands. Certainly giving it everything since the midpoint of this race. In fact, his last lap, Martin Pilkington of 33.6. Obviously, he made the pass, but in terms of pace, Chris Garland is the man on the move at the moment, 32.8 his previous lap around the Brands Hatch circuit. Shows that there's plenty of speed still in that 188 Aston Martin. Danny Herkstra fighting away with Frans Vanderlinde, and as he tries his best to make a pass on Arvidsson's Ginetta, the number 39, still holding on to the last spot inside the top 20, but all of this fighting has allowed evidence and Dennis Berkman to close up behind as well, as Herkstra runs wide on the exit of Surtees. That's going to cost him plenty of momentum on the run under the bridge and through Pilgrim's Drop. He's going to be under fire as Arjen Lermans looks for a way past Jan Paul Eikelenboom through the right-hander at Hawthorns. They are side by side up towards Westfield. He gets the job done on the brakes and just leans in and closes the door ahead of the number 31 Mercedes, as it's all battle behind, and Danny Herkstra is sent spearing off into the barrier on the left-hand side. Side-by-side contact with, I believe, Evan the Tafas is further up the order. Dennis Berkman has a spin at the Sheen curve. It looks like there was, well, 3 or 4 cars into one, just wasn't going to go there through one of the narrower parts of the Brands Hatch circuit, the run through the second sector. Unfortunately, Herkstra and Berkman, the victims there. Is now, this is a move for the podium. Martin Pilkington up the inside at Surtees. Can he get the BMW past Patrick Tractor's McLaren? Yes, and on the run up to the straight, he is clear and passed and onto the podium positions. Now he has, I think, over a 3-second gap, if not more. Bart Zverink in P2. Actually, you can see the BMW just up the road. And looking at the delta there, he's got plenty of pace over his fellow BMW M4 GT4 driver. He's found a second in the previous lap, lap 11. Did Martin Pilkington over Bart Zverink. So if that momentum continues, he'll be with driver the number 12 in no time at all. Now, Chris, we've been impressed with Martin Pilkington's driving so far this season, and once again, this race, he's doing what we've come to know and expect, I would say, from Aaron. He makes a lot of decisive moves, but it's the job done.
Started from 11th, didn't he? I started from 11th and he's up on the podium. And sorry, I'm being corrected. It's 12th place he started from. So you know, he's actually done better than I thought. I do apologise. So yeah, and he's battled his way through the field and is on the podium and catching Bart at a fair rate of knots. Question is, in 10 minutes, will he be able to pass and Bart and get on to Andreas's tail? It's going to be exciting to watch.
Well, that certainly will be a challenge, but one I'm not sure Martin Pilkington will shy away from. 9.6 seconds behind the race leader at the moment, but showing pace fairly similar to our race leader. He has made a couple of moves in the last 2 or 3 laps. Actually, just knocked a couple of tenths or so into his lap time. He's in P3 now. And gap to Patrick Tractor to the tune of 1.5 seconds as James Light now looks for a way past Suke. I don't think that's Suke Verva. That's Arjen Lermans actually, who's potentially got his way through in the number 46, the dark red BMW in front. Now behind, Jan Eikelenboom's looking for a way through as well, as unfortunately Danny Herkstra, the number 24, now has a stop-go 30-second penalty to his name. Wonder if he returned to pit lane with damage following that incident and actually was caught speeding on the way in. It's fairly symptomatic of that kind of mistake. So fortunately, or Danny Herkstra will have to accept that this race has gone away from him now, and he'll have to try again in race 2 as Tim Kroll runs slightly wide way into Paddock Hill Bend, and that's lost him time in his fight against fellow McLaren driver Colin Hines, and it's brought Danny de Swart into play as well. We get the feeling the 57 Mercedes actually followed Tim Kroll slightly wide there through the first corner. Chris, it's very easy to do, isn't it? You get almost mesmerised by the brake lights, the rear wing of the car in front. You have to make the same mistake as the car you're following.
We call it the Scalextric move, don't we? You know, following the car too closely, you do. rather than try and race your own line sometimes, you do tend to just follow their back end, and they go off, you go off. Sometimes you might succeed and not do that.
So, Krull then, still looking for a way past Colin Hines. This trio fly through the undulating second sector, through the Sheen curve, and then do the banked left-hander at Sterling's. And plenty of curb on the apex, and running out and just kissing the slightly higher curb on the exit there. You run downhill under the bridge into Clearways and Clark here. Two corner names, but seemingly merge into one. And you go around the rounded straight. It's called the Brabham straight, but it's anything but. Not only is it very banked to the inside, plenty of camber towards the right-hand side of the circuit. It's also curved the entire way through. And you fly through Paddock Hill Bend, this splitter cam showing you just how much the track drops away and then climbs up towards Druids. Controls very quick through the hairpins, in fact closed up on Colin Hines as they run then down the hill into the left at Graham Hill Bend. A deceptive 90-degree left-hander, but not only an opportunity to pass, but also one to make a mistake, as on the run up towards Surtees, and Krull tries to make the move to the inside, and in fact has made contact there with Colin Hines, who's gone off to the grass, is trying to recover. There is plenty of room to do so, but unfortunately plenty of time goes amiss as well.
Oh, slowing down.
See though, yeah, I was going to say, Chris, this is all part of the game. We like hard, fair racing, but we like sticking to the rules, and Krull slowing down here to let Colin Hines go back through. It's the case of 2 into 1, didn't go.
No, it didn't, and Aaron's quite close to the back of Bart now. Made up 2.5 seconds in the last few laps. It's now a case of where is he actually going to pass Bart. I hate to say it, but it's looking more and more likely.
He wanted to make the move, get the feeling when though, because he's running out of time on the 6.5 minutes here at Brand's House. It's actually 3 or 4 laps of the circuit as they run down through Grenville Bend. Just slightly wide actually, and look at the momentum that Martin Pilkington carries through the left-hander up towards Surtees. He's going to try and get a cut-back line here and improve his momentum on the long drag towards Pilgrim's Drop and Hawthorne's Bend, but a little mistake on the exit, and indeed good speed carried by Sverink on the outside line allows the number 12 to maintain a couple of car lengths advantage over his fellow BMW driver as we ride on the roof now of the number 12. As they fly up towards Westfield, Martin Pilkington looks to the outside. On the exit of the corners, managed to cut back as they dive down through Pilgrim's Drop. He's going to be brave to have a go into Sheen. Opts to back out of things and file behind Art Sverink, then heading up towards Sterling's into the left-hander. You see how Martin Pilkington close up on the brakes, but Sverink's doing a good job of just sticking to his line and carrying the speed that he needs to stay ahead of his championship rival. Bear in mind, these two on the road are 2nd and 3rd, but they are 2nd and 1st in the championship, separated by 30 points coming into tonight's event. 5 minutes left on the clock, so timer is certainly ticking for Aaron Martin Pilkington. Let's have a points advantage over the car in front, but I don't think that will mean anything. Number 626 driver, after we spoke to him at Snetterton, he said he takes every race as an individual event. He's not thinking about the championship. It'd be nice, but he's here to win. He's here to prove he's the best. Certainly seems to be getting the better exit out of Graham Hill Bend. Looks to the inside and then to the outside on the run up towards Surtees. Sverink defending very clearly to the inside, so no miscommunication between the two drivers as they climb up over the hill. They then dive down once again under the bridge of the Pilgrim's Drop. Martin Pilkington looks to the inside, but there's no move on into the right-hander at Hawthorne's. All of this fighting is rather cementing Andreas' Garlin 9.6 second lead at the front of the race. The BMW, you see picture in picture, they are nose to tail as they fly through the right-hander at Westfield. Then they dip and climb towards Sheen, skip over the curve there. Both of them leaving plenty of room to the exit of the track. They don't want to be making a mistake and dipping 2 wheels in the grass. Now Martin Pilkington is closer than he's been on the run down towards the final corner at Clark. I wonder if he's going to start trying to set up a move. 2-3 corners time up into Druids. Indeed, once again towards Surtees. Through Clark curve then, nose to tail. So Sverring just had a better run through the final corner. And as they cross the start-finish line, the gap is just under 2.5 tenths of a second. Flying through Paddock Hill Bend then. Martin Pilkington visibly quicker than his rival as they climb the hill towards Druids. Sverring defends to the inside. Martin Pilkington tries to go around the outside, but is able to get a slight cut back, but finds his route blocked by the number 12. Now he's almost too close to make his pace advantage count through Graham Hill Bend. He gets checked up slightly on the run through the corner and on the exit. Looks to the inside in towards Surtees, but once again can't get the job done. Chris, get the feeling that Bart is doing, if he can continue doing this for the remaining 2 and a bit minutes, he might be holding on to another P2 here. He seems to be doing just enough to keep Aaron at bay.
Defending really well. I'm sure that's what I taught him. All those defensive moves, they're awesome to watch, and I'll stop using that word now. But you've got a feeling that Aaron's just biding his time, and he will get the move at some stage. He's so fast through some of these corners.
Bart seems to be, I was going to say, Bart seems to be putting his car just in the right place. We saw it there at Stirling. He just almost parks the car on the apex slightly and stunts Martin Pilkington's run through the corner. Come through Clark curve. The time has absolutely flown by. 2 minutes now on the clock. Garlin is well clear, way up the road. In fact, when he rounds Druids and looks over to the right-hand side, he will see the 2nd and 3rd place BMWs fighting on their way through Paddock Hill Bend. So we can visibly see the margin he's got. Margin he needs to hold on to and not make any mistakes. 11.2 seconds now. So that pace that Martin Pilkington had, he was able to match our race leader, but now caught up behind Sverring. He's not been able to utilise that pace and force a pass. He's been able to force an error out for number 12. Run through Graham Hill Bend, down the Cooper Straight and towards the left-hander of Surtees. Still nose to tail. We've got an 8-wheel BMW GT4 rounding the Brands Hatch circuit for the last few laps. And I'm surprised if it continues all the way to the checkered flag. I think next lap will be our last lap of the race. So this now the penultimate tour. Brands Hatch circuit for Aaron Martin Pilkington and Bart Sverring. Let's see if Aaron can finally get the job done, or if Bart can continue this fantastic defensive drive and hold on to P2 as they come down Dingle Dell and towards the Sheen curve. So close between the pair of them, the paint almost being exchanged on the run up through the right hander and in towards Stirling's. Sverring just parking the car, putting it in the right place at the right time. Frustrated, Martin Pilkington seems to have made a mistake on the exit, the left hander skipping through the grass. Some valuable momentum there. Surprised to see him close that all back up in the space of 2 corners. Final lap of the race then. Arlen rounds Paddock Hill Bend up towards Druids. The last lap of this 30-minute sprint from flag to flag. Bart Sverring just slightly wide of the apex at Paddock Hill. That could allow Martin Pilkington to open the door, and he has done up the inside towards Druids. Bart Sverring on the outside. 2 BMWs side by side round the hairpin. Martin Pilkington gets the job done finally on the last lap. Gutted for Bart Sverring, who did such an epic job of holding on to P2. On the last lap, it seems to have all gone away from him there. Just a slight mistake at Paddock Hill Bend opened the door, and I wonder if he'll be able to fight back. But the pace that Martin Pilkington has shown all evening, unfortunately, looks like that orange and black BMW is going to drive away from him. P2 disappears into the distance. But speaking of disappearing into the distance, he might have been in his own race tonight. Andreas Garlin, the number 188 Mad Goetze Racing Aston Martin, despite being passed by Sverring on that opening lap, has managed to reclaim top spot, continue on. He set some impressive pace across the half an hour and hasn't made a mistake. It's cost him time. He's going to cross the line with actually over 10 seconds lead over P2. Fantastic race then. Andreas Garlin weaves on the way to the line. The number 188 takes victory here at round 6. Brands Hatch circuit. We will be gearing up to go again, and certainly Aaron Martin Pilkington will want to make amends for race round 6. But He certainly made amends for the qualifying session that saw him start outside the top 10. He climbs up to second place ahead of Bart Sverink in P3, so it's BMW second and third. Patrick Tractor, a season's best, P4 ahead of Peter Vanier in P5. And it's Danny de Svort, who actually has managed to make his way past Sem Spenkelink in the second half of the race there. P6 and 7 nose to tail as they cross the line, with Tom Young in P8. Then it's Tim Kroll in 9th ahead of Nicholas Malott, will potentially... Oh, look at that, 17 thousandths of a second between Malott and Abron Hoser as the two BMWs cross the line. 22 beating 21 in 10th place. Then it's Frank Hopp, P12 ahead of Bas van Mellis, who takes another victory in the AM category in P13 overall. Then it's Dimitri Schenk, Suke Vervac completing a top 15 and your AM category podium ahead of Arjen Lermans. Frans van der Linden, Stefan Arvidsson, Evan Tafas, Dennis Wertmann recovers to P20. Then it's Colin Hines, who looks to have slipped all the way down the order after that incident at Surtees. He completes your top 20 positions. Now, Chris, this is the exciting part about having two races in one evening, is there's plenty of opportunity to make amends, but also you've got to strap yourselves in and go again for another half an hour. And if it's anything like round 6, we're certainly in for another exciting race.
I'm gonna have to go. I don't think I can watch another race like that. The momentum and Aaron Martin Pilkington, do apologise, showed there to catch Bart and pressure him into a mistake on the very final lap. I'm absolutely gutted for Bart because he would have continued his second place finishes. But yeah, we've got another session of qualifying coming up, followed by another 30-minute race. Let's hope everybody stays tuned and watches it.
Absolutely. Well, for all of those watching on, it's potentially time to mention an exciting event that's coming up for the Simsport Racing International community. This weekend, we go racing at the Circuit Spa-Francorchamps for 24 hours. All in the name of charity. We are raising money for the Racing Against Cancer charity, and I'm delighted to say that so far the drivers, the teams involved, have managed to raise over €9,000 for the charity, and we haven't even collected the green flag to go racing. Charity Against Cancer.nl mainly works with children and others that are fighting the disease, and enjoys taking those out for a breath of fresh air and take them away from potentially fighting the disease and the problems that come with that. Gets them behind the wheel of a car or inside some exciting machinery and takes them out on track. Brings plenty of smiles to plenty of faces. Well, I do invite you all to please tune in this weekend, 27th and 28th of November. The race starts on Saturday. Towards the middle of the day. Make sure you are subscribed to the Simsport Racing International YouTube channel. Hit the bell as well next to that subscribe button to make sure you're notified when the event goes live. But tune in not only for an incredible event in terms of the racing on track, but also in terms of the work that's going on in the real world by the Racing Against Cancer team. Of course, if you are interested in donating, then please tune in this weekend for all relevant info. Please head over to againstcancer.nl to check out all the fantastic work they're doing. I think, Chris, you and I are both really looking forward to the race this weekend, and I think we're going to get some pretty exciting stuff at Spa, aren't we?
We are. It's the first 24-hour event that we've organised. It's been a bit of a task to get to this stage, and on Saturday tomorrow night we start our midweek qualifying sessions. So we have 2 qualifying sessions tomorrow evening. All being well, to those that aren't aware, that there is a big Assetto Corsa Competizione update coming out tomorrow, and we're hoping that doesn't have an effect on our qualifying sessions with people not being able to join the servers via their entry lists. And on Thursday we have sessions 3 and 4. 2 drivers from each team. Teams range from between 3 members and 6 members. And only 2 drivers are allowed to do the qualifying session, and the average of those 2 drivers determines the grid position. I've been asked in chat, why is Chris not racing in 24 hour? I was actually kicked out of my team for not being good enough. That is a joke. That is a joke.
Right, okay.
Thanks for that, Steve. I don't know if the broadcast heard that. Evil man. I've spent quite a lot of time organising the event with the great admin team that we have, and it's not left me enough time to practice. And we want to do proud for the only Honda in the event, being sponsored by a Honda dealership in the Netherlands. I'm not allowed to mention the name because I can't pronounce it properly.
Well, look, Chris, you say you haven't done enough practice, but there's 24 hours of practice on Saturday, I've heard. But the only problem is you might have a few other cars on track attempting to make their way past you. So might not be the easiest practice session, but
no, but as you know, it's all won in the first corner in a 24-hour event, isn't it?
Of course, absolutely.
So sorry, I know we need to get back to qualifying, but I've just been corrected by Bass's mum in the chat that it's brand new work dealership. So thanks for that, Bass's mum again. Thanks for pulling me out, and thanks for sponsoring us as well. So she donated some money towards our team, so that was great.
Brilliant stuff. Well,
anyway, there's a qualifying session going on here.
Well, yeah, please do tune in this weekend for the race. And Aaron Van Drunen's telling me to pronounce that, and I don't even want to give that a go. I'm going to shy away from it. I think Chris did a better job than I could possibly do. So, yes, do tune in this weekend. It's Saturday and Sunday, of course, 24 hours of Spa, all in the name of charity. Set for plenty of action. Now, back to the action tonight then. Qualifying. It's a 10-minute session now. The second race this evening. We are nearing the halfway point of that. Drivers are getting their potentially first or second times on the board. Plenty of green on the left-hand side of the screen. Those who might be going quicker. Looks like they're all improving on their times at the moment. No rain out there at the moment as well. Track is optimum, so it's the best conditions we've had so far this evening, so the drivers will certainly be experiencing a very different Brands Hatch to the one they've had in qualifying and the race so far. Leading the way at the moment is Dennis Workman, a 1:31.9, just shows you the pace time found in the track conditions. That is the fastest lap we've had so far this evening, ahead of Andreas Garlin, round 6 race winner, and then it's Tim Kroll and P3 at the moment. Plenty of drivers are setting times, and that could all change in the blink of an eye. Across the line then, Bart Sverring now sets the pace. That is a 1:31.5 from the driver of the number 12 BMW. So it goes about on setting another lap here, continues on his way. Chris, what was your strategy for qualifying? Did you prefer to go out for one lap at the end, or did you fill the car up and head round as many laps in the book and try and find the pace that way? But how did you attack qualifying sessions? Has potentially been attacked by a ceiling fan that we understand is broken, so fingers crossed he rejoins us. But Bart Sverring then.
I do apologise, I'm here now.
There we go. Was it the ceiling fan? The ceiling fan falling off?
No, the ceiling fan hasn't fell off. I just actually muted my microphone because I'm an idiot.
Yes, qualifying sessions. What was your strategy for like going out and fueling up the car, or do you prefer the running around on fumes and trying to get the one lap in?
Are you testing me because you asked me exactly the same question at Snetterton? So are you just making sure I say the same thing twice?
Potentially. I haven't written it down, so...
Yeah, I've heard that before, but you can listen back to the stream from Snetterton. My tactic is to go out and with a full fuel load, to be honest. I very rarely, unless I'm feeling really confident in the car and my times, I very rarely do low fuel runs. I just fill it up and go out on the race setup just to plod around and see how far up the grid I can get, which probably explains why I'm always at the back.
I used to do exactly the same thing. You used to qualify on the race setup. It'd be confusing having a qualifying setup. I can't get my head around the car feeling so different. But anyway, 3 minutes to go here at Brands Hatch. Aaron Martin Pilkington's leaped to the top of the time to 1:31.491. He's got 700ths of a second, actually less than that, over Bart Sverring. Now that's changed. Half a tenth separates the BMW now from Dennis Verkman in the 444 Porsche. So that we saw having plenty of instant in that opening race, now could find himself on the front row of the grid.
Bart's not far behind.
Bart Sverring not too far behind as well. Top three all within over half a tenth of a second. So fantastic stuff. Very close times coming in. Andreas Garlin is fourth. With Danny de Sport in P5, Bas van Melis, Frans van der Linden, Patrick Tractor, Tom Young and Tim Kroll round out your top 10 there, all separated by 9.5 tenths of a second. Aaron Martin Pilkington flies through the final corner. Here's Arjen Lomans as well, one of our BMWs, heading through Westfield. 1.5 seconds off pole. If he's finding time here on this lap, 1 minute 50 seconds on the clock. So drivers will need to head out on track now if they want to make it round and set a time, beat the checkered flag and get to the timing line and start a lap. Patrick Tractor, Tom Young and Annie Herkstra are in pit lane, so it looks like that could be their session done. Saying that, Martin Pilkington just drops back to pit lane as Danny de Sport had time in hand, but at Sheen runs wide, makes a mistake. Just all that time he worked so hard again, as it looks like Sam Spanknick there recovering to the track surface as well. So he was slowing up, or he was slowing up back and forth, making a mistake and kicks the tail out at number 1 Dark Sky Racing Maserati through Clark Curve. So it's Martin Pilkington first. Garlin then improves to go second there ahead of Bart Sverring and Danny de Swart, who currently sits P5. Bas van Melis is up to 6th. Another strong qualifying from the number 11 Porsche. It's Frans van der Linden in P7. Evan Paffis gets a bit of a slide on the exit of Graham Hill Bend. Climbs up the hill through Surtees. Running out of time though. He's got a bit of track space in front of him. Only the 65 of Frans van der Linden is within close vicinity to this Porsche Cayman. He flies through the right-hander. Hopefully there's no incident up ahead. And Natafas is damaged by the traffic around him. So he flies through right-hander at Westfield. Then the track drops away. Climbs again up towards Sheen. Is Arjen Lermans, currently P14. And improving on his time. You know, he's 6 tenths of a second down as he comes through the final corner. Makes a slight wiggle. Best lap from the number 46, but let's see if he improves on his time. Comes across the line. Does he improve? No, looks like he stays 14th. Unable to better his time. Checkered flag is out. Martin Pilkington's still on pole. Wonder if any other drivers are improving. Doesn't look like there are many other with pace in hand. They come up towards the line. More cars just to collect the checkered, but it looks like Martin Pilkington might take another pole position here in the GT4 Championship. Set to be joined on the front row by Andreas Garlin and Dennis Verkman. They all just cross the line, just making sure no one improves right at the death that I miss. Yes, Stefan Alverson crosses the line to go P11. Chris, spectacularly, the top 4 drivers are separated by a little over half a tenth of a second. Martin Pilkington, Garlin, Verkman and Bart Sverring. Now, if that isn't a shot window into the pace on show this evening, then I don't know what is. It'll be a very close fought race, and with these drier and more optimum conditions, I see a close fight between that front 4. I
think there will be, but I've got my suspicions that Aaron will get maintain the lead and run away with it like he did at Snetterton. But hopefully Bart Andreas can mount a really good challenge on him and put him under a lot of pressure.
We saw at the first corner of round 6, the first race tonight, we saw Bart Sverring go the long way round Andreas Garlin into the first corner. He starts P4, so I think he's still actually in that outside lane. will be attempting to go around Dennis Werkman for P3. So Garlin's feeling brave. Let's see him repeat the move that was done on him in the opening race. Let's see. 188 Aston Martin and wrestled the lead off Aaron Martin Pilkington, who's pretty demon off the starts, to say the least. I've got I feel like the races so far this season where he has started from pole, he's been very quick out of the marks. Certainly seems to have a game plan in hand when he comes to collect the green flag from pole position. Drivers now just readying their cars, making sure they've got enough fuel to go the 30 minutes. That's the embarrassing mistake. Don't want to be doing that. Also making sure that they've got a fresh set of tyres if they've got it available to them.
I'm just wondering why they're all cocking the legs.
Quick toilet break then for these cars before the second race.
It's awful that way, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Well, you sometimes see it, don't you, with touring cars when they're racing. You know, when they're under the loads in the corners, you see them often cock the rear wheel, don't you? But this is, unfortunately, they're not going anywhere at the moment. Quite like that, but we'll certainly see them pushing hard enough to make it look like the cars are rocking side to side. Yes, a fresh set of tyres as well. You don't want to be out there on tyres used in practice that have potentially not got the most life left in them. 20 seconds away from starting this warm-up lap. Looks like all the drivers are back down on all four wheels. Aaron Martin Pilkington then will lead them away from the grid this parade lap. Hopefully we see just as an exciting event as we had in the opening race this evening. Thank you as well to all of those who have stayed with us, stayed tuned along to the action. Aaron Van Druenen's in the chat, as well as Marika Van Mellis. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying the racing action. Demian de Kaiser as well. And Manify sticking around, and Nicholas E. Very much enjoying the racing here at Brands Hatch. It's certainly one of my favourite tracks. I think the opening race this evening has proved that. Very close fights between drivers up and down the order. Which that's what we like to see, isn't it? Doesn't matter if you're fighting for P1 or P25. Hard but fair fights, and battles worth winning when it's racing like that. Yeah,
this is what we want to see. We really do want to see it. Whether it continues like that now, the track's optimum, it's going to be interesting to see. I've just spotted that Frans van der Linden's qualified up in 7th place. That's a good qualifying spot for him. So that's two of the Sim Racing Holland team in the top 10, with the third driver in 12th, Pete Banya.
Well, Van der Linden has made one very crucial improvement on the previous race. He's actually started the grid. He's starting the event. So that's job one done, and he won't have to do what he did in the opening race, which was battle through the order from the back of the grid. I think he ended up quite in the top 10, but close to it, at least inside the top 20 in memory. So hopefully now, starting with the pack of cars, he can make some moves up the order. But as you say, P7, a very strong start alongside Bas Van Mellis. He's 6th on the grid.
If you get a chance, just have a look at Daniel Orchestra's team name. I think it's very cleverly thought out.
Bright pink, the pink Aston Martin, number 66. I'm trying to rack my brains as to what it is. I can only remember mode 11 and things like that.
There you go.
Well, you know, he's not doing himself any services like that. Danny Herkstra was pretty rapid in the previous season, I can remember. So it's to change the team to race winner. Maybe that might change the might be where he's going wrong there. Well, look, here we go then. Let's see who is going to be the race winner in round 7 here at Brands Hatch. They file into line 2 by 2. Martin Wilkinson will lead them to the green flag. 30 minutes on the clock. No pit stops. It's flag to flag action here. Round 7 of the Simsport Racing International GT4 Season 3. He's alongside Andreas Garland on the front row. Can the Aston Martin go the long way round at Paddock Hill Bend? We're under starters' orders and awaiting the green flag, which Martin Pilkington will take any time now. And we go green. Planted on the throttle. He's still side by side with the Aston Martin up towards Paddock Hill Bend. Can Garlin do it? No, he has to opt to stick in behind the BMW on the run up the hill towards Druids. It looks like Svering's going to do the same in race 2. Can he go the long way around Berkman? Oh, it looks like he runs wide into the hairpin and loses that P3. So the order stayed the same for the top 4 positions. Martin, Pilkington, Garlin, Berkman and Svering, your top 4. Danny de Sport is in 5th place. As further down the order, Spenkelink side by side with the McLaren with Patrick Tractors. They go into the left-hander at Surtees. A big slide for the number 1 Maserati. I think he managed to gather it up as they go over the crest and under the bridge at Dingledale and towards Hawthorns for the first time. Martin Pilkington defends his position. Andreas Garlin is behind. Berkman has to cover off the advances of Bart Sverink into the fast right-hander. A couple of positions back. There's contact between Tom Young and Frans van der Linden on the run towards Westfield Bend. Did the Mercedes get stopped? Yes, but they're still side by side through the Dingledale and up towards Gene Kerr. Van der Linden's got the high ground on the inside, skips across the curb actually on the inside, almost cutting the corner entirely there. Holds on to P6 for now, but the Mercedes is surely going to be trying to fight back immediately. There's a whole pack of cars nose to tail. They run down towards Clearways and Clark Curve the first time of asking, but as they cross the line after lap 1 here, it's Aaron Martin Pilkington, but he's chased hard by Andreas Garlin. Then it's Dennis Berkman who defends to the inside from Bart Sverink, who's looking to go the long way round. Can he get the job done as Garlin makes a mistake into Paddock Hill and has lost plenty of time and momentum to our race leader? No, Sverink holds on to P4. Then it's Danny de Swart in P5. Second, third, fourth and fifth there, all on your camera, on your screens at the same time. Frans van der Linden in P6 after he managed to hold off Tom Young. It's Tim Krul, Sem Spenkelink and Bas van Mellis has dropped a handful of positions down to P10. Patrick Tractor in 11th ahead of Stefan Arvidsson, as it looks like actually he's got the move done. Van Mellis, so now Tractor up to P10. There is confirmation on your screen, and as they run out of Surtees, a couple of cars skipping across the grass. Now Van Mellis is having to defend from Arvidsson in the number 39 Ginetta. Come down the hill and climb once again up towards Hawthorns. Holds onto the spot for now as Kroll's run slightly wide and trimming the grass there on the exit of Hawthorns. Use the position, I think, potentially to some Spenkelink. Confirmation when they cut through the next timing line. Holds on to P3. Chris, a nice clean start. Look, there plenty of side by side. Looks like everyone's got through cleanly, which is what we like to see.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see if Darren pulls away as we look at Frans van der Linden and Tom Young swapping positions by the looks of it. Yeah, if Aaron can pull away, he's got nearly a second lead now. But can Bart get past Dennis to try and get up to 3rd place? It's going to be interesting to watch. I keep saying that as well, so shut up now.
Well, that is the question. I get a feeling that if Garlin hadn't made that slight error at the start of the second lap, he would have been able to keep right up under the rear wing of Martin Pilkington. But saying that, he's still within 7/10 of a second, so let's see. Sem Spenkelink looks to the inside of Kroll and there's contact there. Maserati goes to the inside and there's a secondary hit between the McLaren of Kroll and the Maserati of Sem Spenkelink. Spenkelink is now dropping down the order as he lifts off the gas, but he's actually getting boxed in by Arvidsson and behind the Aston Martin of Suke Vervat. She's held on to the position there as Sem now looks to the inside of Bas van Mellis into Westfield Bend. The job done very cleanly actually, just sliding across the front of the brightly coloured Porsche Cayman, so he holds on to P10 despite battling with Kroll and that incident into Surtees. There was paint exchange there. I wonder if Kroll just closed the door a bit too late, a bit too hard, but I'm sure the stewards will potentially be reviewing that one towards Clearways. The right hander Arvidsson holds on to the position of Kroll on the exit. Vervat running slightly wide, kicking up the dust on the exit. They are side by side now. Kroll on the inside of Arvidsson. Double pass here. Can he make it past the Aston Martin as well into Paddock Hill? A bit of a tap on the side. That gives him a slide all the way through the right hander, which he manages to gather up, and that's opened the door for James Lyke He's now skipped past 2 cars through the opening corner and now tries to make a move on the McLaren, but can't, as behind there's a spin. Unfortunately, Arjun Lermans and Dimitri Schenk coming to blows, as well as Nicholas Malott on the run through the Druids corner. 3 cars involved there, 3 cars, plenty of time to their competitors, and unfortunately tumbling down the order as we are 5.5 minutes into this race. Now, this was the question we were wondering about, Chris, whether Aaron Martin Pilkington would escape at the front of the field. Judging by that shot, he is yet to do so. If anything, Garlin has taken 5/10 out of him the last couple of laps, and he stays very close to the BMW front. Dennis Berkman as well is very much in the fight. The top 3 separated by just under 7/10 of a second at the moment. So Martin Pilkington's got the pace, Chris, but he's not quite disappearing up the road. Garlin's putting up a fight.
Oh, and I think Andres set the fastest lap on his last tour as well to boot. Straight after Aaron has set his fastest lap, so they are going at hammer and tongs.
See on screen, 31.383 from Andreas Garlin, fastest lap of the race. Now they're having to fight from Dennis Workman, and this is going to cost the pair of them time against Aaron Martin Pilkington and stick to his racing line. Continue setting the pace. Garlin defending slightly into Surtees, holding the middle of the road. Not what he needs, Chris, is it? Andreas wants to have a clean run so we can continue that pace and continue battling with Martin Pilkington.
Yes, he doesn't need anybody that close to him. He wants to get his head down, not have to defend, but be on the offensive. And he is having to defend from Dennis. Dennis has got quite a good pace going here, and not far behind is Bart again. Ready to pick up any pieces, I think, of any coming together.
As we see, picture-in-picture, Bas van Mellis running wide and through the gravel trap on the exit of Westfield Bend. I wonder if there was contact with Kroll, who tucks him behind and doesn't make his way through, so getting the feeling that Kroll slowed up there. Tap behind potentially from the McLaren into the right-hander. A pair of them lose further positions, but importantly, they're still out on track. They haven't been into the wall or made heavy contact with the barrier. Continue on in the race with just over 22 minutes to go. And Martin Pilkington, though, despite the battling behind, hasn't disappeared too far up the road. Only a second over Andreas Garlin, which I think would be more, considering that he's been defending quite extremely from Dennis Workman's Porsche Cayman. The top 3 on the road are Martin Pilkington, Garlin and Workman on your screen. And you can see Bart Swearing in behind. Danny de Swart rounds out the top 5, albeit 2 seconds back from the number 12 BMW. As you can see though on your screen, the main picture, Kroll once again lining up a move on Bas van Mellis. Can he get the job done cleanly this time? Into Surtees, goes up the inside. The number 90 passes the number 11 for P13. Runs slightly wide on the exit though, 2 wheels across the curb and in the grass. Things covered up. Continues on, holds on to the position.
I think they're both carrying damage here, aren't they? As well.
Yeah. And difficult to drive around that, Chris, isn't it? Because you just know the pace isn't in the car, and then it's sometimes it's more a mental thing over a physical thing in that situation. You know, you're battling against doing an uphill battle already.
Yeah, you've not got the car beneath it that you thought you had, because you are carrying either aero damage or your steering wheel's cocked to the side slightly. As I'm going to get his name right one night. Hilco sets the fastest lap, and I assume he's starting to pull away now from Andreas.
Absolutely. Well, despite Andreas's best attempts, 1 second's now the gap. I mean, the pace is very close between them, and in fact, on the last lap, Garlin set a purple first and second sectors, so he is just as quick as Martin Pilkington. Pilko is probably the nickname we'll give him just to save time and syllables, but Aston Martin's still very quick. almost becoming a time trial between the pair of them now into this final 20 minutes of the racing action here this evening. Bart Sverring, though, looking for a way past Dennis Workman on the run towards Westfield. Dive to the inside, but opt to return to the racing line and up under the rear wing of the grey and green Porsche Cayman. Go through the Sheen curve. Just up ahead, Garlin, I think, the dust pushing on to try and close up Blue Martin Pilkington. Around Stirlings to the bridge towards Clearways and the Clark curve. Very close battle between the pair of them. You get to see the strengths and weaknesses of these two cars. The BMW is known for being very fast in a straight line. Cayman just seems to be just have enough front actually on the slightly flat out sections of the Brands Hatch circuit to keep the BMW behind. Up towards Druids. Bart Sverring looked to the inside, but Workman did just enough to keep in front and close the door on his BMW rival during Graham Hill Bend. It stays the same. The feeling though it's going to be a matter of when, not if, Bart Sverring makes another lunge and makes another attempt at a pass. Round 30, Sverring visibly faster through the left-hander as they climb up over the crest towards Pilgrim's Drop. Towards the inside, the BMW does have the run on the Porsche. He will have the inside line into the right-hander at Hawthorns. He gets the job done on Dennis Workman. Change of position there. Workman tries to fight back though on the exit, but can't get enough alongside. Miles in line. Accepts P4. Eric then back onto the virtual podium. P3 sights is set on doing what he can, if he can do anything. The race leaders. Aaron Martin Pilkington about to complete his 8th lap. 1.4 seconds is his current advantage over Andreas Garlin. The two are exchanging lap times, but fortunately for Garlin, he's regularly about 2-3 tenths slower now than Pilko in the number 626. Just seeing that lead now starting to go out. It's 6 seconds now. Bart Sverring come to P3. 1:31.4 from Martin Pilkington on that previous lap to a 1:31.7 for Garlin, so that's the time. All of it seems to be coming in that final sector of the lap, 38.2. Prizes of the run through Stirlings, the blast down the straight under the bridge and towards the final corner. It's a fairly simple final sector, but it's just enough to see Martin Pilkington kind of over 2 tenths of a second on his Martin rival. Eric P3 then, P4, and he's unable to close in on that gap to the top 4 just yet. 1.98 seconds. Get the feeling that he's rather in no man's land at the moment. He has a 2-second deficit to the cars in front. Even more so to Tom Young's 70 Mercedes behind, nearly 7 seconds. It'll be a race against himself now. Danny DeSwart needs to not make any mistakes. You can see him pick up 5th place this evening. As behind Arvidsson on trying to catch up to James Light, running slightly wide there at the exit of Hawthorns through the grass. We've got one retirement, it seems. Mike Appenhose's number 21 BMW in pit lane, not too sure why, but unfortunate to see his race come to an end early on. Lee Mosley as well is 8 laps down, but I believe is out on track, so the number 75 Aston Martin is still lapping. It looks like he might be stopped. Sort of the final corner. Yes, indeed, he's actually stopped there in pit lane, so I wonder if that's a technical issue for Lee Mosley as opposed to an issue in game. I wonder if he's had a problem with his sim rig. He looks to have pulled off to the side of the road very cleanly. There's a spin up in front. That's Suke Verbat's Aston Martin, I believe, spinning to the inside of Paddock Hill Bend. He's going to lose a whole heap of time as he rally crosses his way back onto the circuit on the run up towards Druids. He will have lost multiple positions as the number 73 Aston Martin. Yeah, confirmation it was Vervat who ran wide. Spun to the inside, just in front of Vass's number 74 Porsche Cayman. It's Bas van Mellis then, who has somewhat tumbled down the order. He's now in P14 as a result of a couple of incidents most notably going through the gravel after contact with Tim Krul. He's now trying to find a way back past James Light, which what I think is for the last step on the AM class podium. He's now got the inside line into Westfield. Mercedes is able to go the long way round though and hold on to the position, opening the door, or at least opening the opportunity for Colin Hines to form an attack. And running slightly wide and catching a spin, Bas van Mellis, and oh dear, makes contact with the McLaren as he spun towards the inside of the Sheen curve and then gets pinballed to the outside and in the gravel trap. Looked like a move for Van Mellis. Fortunately, has seen his race crumble in the gravel trap at Sheen curve. Sem Spenkling gets a huge slide on in Paddock Hill, manages to gather things up. E9 at the moment is the number 1 Maserati. Half the race gone, half the race to go. Let's give you a quick run down the order. It's Martin Pilkington who leads the way, 1.7 seconds over Andreas Garlin. It's in third place for now, Bart Zverink. Then it's Dennis Berkman ahead of Danny de Sport, rounds out your top 5. Then it's Tom Young, Frans van der Linden, the number 65 Aston Martin. He's out the leader of the AM category on track. Then it's Patrick Tractor, Sem Spenkling and Peter Vanier rounding out the top 10. Tim Krul, Stefford Arvidsson and James Light in top 13 with Colin Hines, Jan Eikelenboom, Arjen Lerman, Suke Verva and Evan Tafas in top 18. Here is Jan Eikelenboom pushing on hard, but he is under fire from Arjen Lermans in the 46 BMW. As Hawthorne's the right-hander, order stays the same. White Mercedes. In front of this line of cars is James Light, completes the podium in the AM category. Here's Sem Spenkling though, looking for a way past Patrick Tractor down towards Clark Curve. Can he go all the way around the outside? He's certainly going to give it a go, but the track space seems to run out very quickly on the exit of Clark. Down the Brabham Straight. Tractor's just done enough to keep in front for now. Sem Spenkling certainly looking for a way past. As Tractor makes a mistake there on the run into Paddock Hill Bend, runs late on the brakes, and that allows Sem to get up the inside and into Druids. Got the optimum line. And the pass done. Chris, once again, here at Brands Hatch, it's not necessarily about making the pass. It's sometimes just about letting your opponent make a mistake.
Yeah, and I giggled to myself. I hope you didn't hear me on stream, but watching Sem go around Paddock Hill Bend, sat almost sideways and still catching it. He's either loving driving that car or hating it. And I think I know which one it is. I think he actually loves it. But yeah, what was your question?
Sometimes you don't need to make the move, do you? You just need to let your opponent make the mistake, or in some cases just make one more mistake than you do. It's so difficult here.
Yes. That's how most of the moves have been made tonight, isn't it? With certainly the state that
we're both in bewilderment at the moment, Chris, at watching Sem Spenkling. Very busy hands on the wheel. He's barely driving straight, it seems.
I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. How he drives this, I don't know.
Let's have a look at the first corner. It's the slide by Sem here. He's already turning left on the way in, which is handy because it's a right-hander. Then over the crest, has to catch a slide, and then all the way out through the corner. He's just fighting with the thing. Always confidence inspiring when you hit the brakes and find yourself turning the opposite direction to the corner, but he gets the job done with the opening 2 corners.
It's the speed he carries as well. He still carries an immense amount of speed and passes people. It's just fun, and there you go again.
Yeah.
There we go again. And it's just
be that transition between the braking zone and turning in for the corner that the slide seems to generate itself, but I very much hope so that the side windows on that Maserati are clean, because they're certainly getting plenty of use. As Arjen Lermans then fighting away with Jan Eikelenboom, and it looks like he's made the pass now for P15. Number 46 BMW is now ahead of the number 31 Mercedes as they dip through Pilgrim's Drop and towards Hawthorns. The right-hander. They are still trying to chase down the pair of James Light and Colin Hines, who remain in positions 13 and 14 at the moment. We head into the final 10 minutes of action. James Light making a mistake there through Sterling, so costing himself some time behind, so unable to make the move. They come through Sterling's down towards Airways and the right-hander at Clark. Argent Lawrence looking to the inside and maybe jumped slightly there and Bimdog looking for a way past. McLaren into the final corner. A bit more admin to be done here. Evan Atafas looks to have picked up a drive-through penalty. Number 74 Porsche down in 19th place will have to trundle down pit lane, and that will see him drop to the back of proceedings. It looks like Emma's actually got this job done on Frans van der Linden, but again, not through the course of making the pass himself. It sounds like van der Linden made a mistake and actually allowed the Maserati through as they head now into the second sector. There's a slow Aston Martin off to the inside there. That's the number 75 machine.
Dimitri's got a lot of damage there, so they must have had contact there.
Yeah, potentially contact between the pair of them. I'm trying to work out who that number 75 is. I think that could be Lee Mosley, who we saw was lapping around or potentially had technical issues parked on the entry to pit lane. Now, back to the front of the race and looking at the times between Aaron Martin Pilkington and Andreas Garlin. Martin Pilkington is being matched and occasionally beaten by his Aston Martin rival on 2 out of the last 3 laps. Garlin has been quicker and actually found a fair few tenths over the race leader, so that gap's ebbing and flowing. I get the feeling, Chris, that battle for the race lead, 2 seconds on the timing screen looks like a fairly sizable margin, but here at Brands Hatch, one slight error will turn from 2 seconds to 2 tenths.
You've just got to run over the grass, haven't you, slightly, and you can quite easily lose that time. I don't think it's decided yet. I'm surprised that Pilco hasn't pulled away as much as he has done in previous rounds. Now, whether he has been making a few minor mistakes, and that's letting Andreas back in, we don't know because we've not been following them as closely. But yeah, it's going to be exciting to watch.
Exactly. Let's see if Garlin can close that gap, or indeed if Pilkington can extend it. It looks like he might have done 2 tenths found in the opening sector or 2. Towards the end of this lap, it looks like that gap has gone out. Martin Pilkington 31.9 to Garlin's 32.3, so nearly 4 tenths of a second on that last lap of the Brands Hatch circuit. Fortunately, it looks like there's 3 cars now in pit lane that potentially retired from the race. That's including Dimitri Schenk and Lee Mosey, who I believe has now dropped out of the unfortunately for Lee, it looked like he had a technical issue already to battle against, and then an incident has undone his proceedings, his result this afternoon. As Colin Hines, though, still battling away. In this battle pack, Chris, this is exactly what we like to see. Looking at the order, 13th, 14th, 15th and 16th, you get the feeling that in other leagues and other competitions, these guys would be separated by a fair few seconds and just lapping around to collective points.
Yeah,
and the checkered flag. But here in SSRi, they're battling just as hard as if this was a race victory.
Yeah, and it's great. It's great to watch these battles lower down the field. I'm not doing them any injustice by saying that. As we watch, is that Sem try and get past Tom?
Indeed, it is.
Slight touch there, but nothing came of it, fortunately. And is Fran's going to catch Sem whilst he's going sideways for most of his lap.
Absolutely. Well, Sem has managed to gather things up, hold on to P7 for now. But yeah, Frans van der Linden's definitely closed in on the pair of them. The exit of Sterling's there. The rubber band between the Mercedes and the Maserati seems to certainly shorten. So not struggling with the car, dancing the car, I'd say, through Clark and across the start-finish line along the gravel straight up towards Paddock Hill Bend into the right-hander. Again, he's turning left before he turns right. over the crest and down. Gets things all gathered up and in control as they head towards Druids. It's the spanking flick of hearing ideas from Mr. Steve Proudly. It's the many moves that Sem seems to be pulling out on the track at the moment. Down the hill, in towards the Graham Hill bend. It is impressive watching him wield that Maserati Gran Turismo. Seems to carry just as much speed as everyone else, he just does it whilst going sideways. On the exit of Surtees, he's got the run now on the Mercedes as they go over the crest and along the longest straight on the track. It's, down the hill, it doesn't look like the Maserati has the speed advantage on the Mercedes. In fact, it looks like that AMG is able to pull away if the Maserati is not in the slipstream. Through the right-hander at Westfield, Enkelink. It's almost so close to the back of Young, but he has to back out a bit on the exit, slightly wide. Into the final 4 minutes of the race. This trio battling for 6th, 7th and 8th. Van der Linden behind. Well, this will be a fantastic turn of events for the number 65, from missing the start of the opening race to now taking victory in the AM category. It's got just over 3.5 minutes to continue. Potentially 2, if not 3 laps still to be completed. Brilliant story for him. As Spenklik now looks to the outside of Tom Young, in towards Paddock Hill Bend. Can he slide it all the way around the outside? He's on the brakes halfway into the corner and still going on the exit. That's cost him plenty of momentum, because now at the inside, Van der Linden into Druids has got the job done, and the Aston Martin has gained another position now, up to P7 on the road. I believe that's where he qualified. So much as the drama of these half-an-hour races, fall down the order, you can find yourself fighting your way back through. Chris, it looked like that was just one slide too many for Sem there. It cost him plenty of speed.
Yeah, and Fran
able to get the job done.
He didn't need a second invitation, did he, Franz, either? They're on the inside, and it looks like Sem's not going to catch him at the moment. I think he's just lost perhaps his tyres now, because yeah, he's sliding around too much as we've been watching on board. You can actually see his side windows are open, so he can see through the side while he's going around the corners. I think I've said enough rubbish now.
Absolutely, you've got to have them open as well.
Having said that, he's back on him. Back on him.
I was going to say, only in a couple of corners has managed to slide that Maserati back up to the rear wing with the Aston Martin Vantage into the final corner at Clark.
Around Paddock Hill Bend, do we think?
Let's see, because that's where he made the mistake on the previous lap. When you make amends of that, he's going to look to the outside. Gets the car stopped a lot earlier than he did on the previous lap. Still sliding the thing through the undulating first corner. Up the hill towards Druids. Dives in late. Still behind the Aston Martin. They then drop down towards the left-hand of Graham Hill Bend. And all this fighting is just allowing Tom Young to hold on to P6 for now. As Hem goes to the inside, can he get the Maserati stopped on the inside of the circuit? No, he can't. So Van der Linden goes in defensive mode there and drives all the way around the outside of the Maserati that tries to take the position from him in towards Hawthorns. Enkelink again looks to the inside, can't get alongside or get the overlap on the number 65 Vantage. Through Westfield. Now this is where Sem has been very fast indeed through this second sector as they climb up towards the Sheen curve. It's in towards Sterling's that he seems to find plenty of speed on his rivals, and once again closes right up on the back of the number 65 as Tom Young makes a mistake, and that's going to check up the duo behind him. They're 3 wide on the run down towards Clark Curve. There's contact between them. Sem Spenkling onto the left hand side, lucky to avoid the wall there. He's still sliding the car around the outside. In fact, he's got such good momentum. He's in the middle, 3 wide again. Young on the outside, Spenkling in the middle, but Van der Linden has the high ground, you feel, on the inside. Can the 65 now take P6? Yes, he does. Spenkling slides very wide, and after all of that, it's back where he started in P8. Young tries to defend to the inside and hold off the Maserati, and does so. So Van der Linden now up to P6. It's Young in P7 and a very sideways Maserati in P8 behind, and get the feeling now with the clock down to 0. Time has elapsed. There's not going to be an opportunity for Sem for those positions back. Well, here's the driver. It's led from start to finish. It's been another dominant race from Aaron Martin Pilkington. And he is still being chased by Garlin, who hasn't let the BMW escape too far up the road. They come out of Stirling's, down towards Clearways in the Clark curve for the final time. Around the final corner and onto the Brabham straight. Aaron Martin Pilkington will collect the checkered flag and another race victory in the SSRi GT4 Championship. He crosses the line, a lead of 1.1 seconds over Andreas Garlin, who takes second place. Then it's Bart Sverink in third, ahead of Dennis Workman in P4 in the 444 Catemans. It's all fours for Dennis Workman. Danny Sport rounds out the top 5. It's here at the final corner. Tom Young tries to go the long way round and get P6 off Frans van der Linden, and he's done it on the final corner of the race. He reclaims that P6 from the Aston Martin, who crosses the line just ahead of Sem Spenkling. Then it's Patrick Tractor in P9 with Peter Vanya in 10th, ahead of Tim Kroll in 11th. Stefan Arvidsson will round the final corner in the number 39 Janetta to take P12, and does so indeed with a little wiggle just to show his happiness in making it to the checkered flag. Then it's Colin Hines in 12th and rounds out the AM Capital podium. Arjen Lerman's 13th, Jan-Paul Eikelenboom 14th, ahead of Zahn Vale in 15th. Then it's James Lyke in 16th, then side by side to the line, Nicholas Milot and Bas van Mellis, 2K Vervat and Frank Hopp beating your top 20. Danny Herkstra is going to make it to the line in P21. The 66 Aston Martin looked to have suffered some heavy damage in the middle of the race there. Turn to the track, across the line, takes a checkered flag. Chris, another exciting race and a very close fought battle between Aaron Martin Pilkington and Garlin. It wasn't quite a battle in terms of them exchanging passes on track, but in terms of lap time and the mental game between the pair of them, certainly very close.
It was, and I'm not sure what gap was near the end, but last time I did look, it was only 1.7 seconds. So Pilco didn't have it all his own way there. Whether he managed the gap or not, we won't know until we get him in for the interview. But all three of the podium finishers drove a great race, and that pass on the outside there for Tom Young on Frans van der Linden on the last corner of the last lap, fantastic to watch. And was that for 7th place?
I believe so. I think it might have been P6 actually. So still a very good pass, and right at the end shows it's not over till it's over.
Here we are with a replay of it. No, we're not. I'll shut up, Chris.
This is the opening lap. As we're just having a look at the drivers battling into Druids for the first time. We are just about to be joined, though, by our drivers from tonight's events, and I'm very delighted to welcome into the booth, first and foremost, our Race 2 race winner, Aaron Martin Pilkington. Aaron, P1 on the grid, race victory, but it looked like it was not necessarily a wheel-to-wheel fight between you and Andreas Garlin, or a case of who makes the least mistakes win. 1.1 seconds across the line. How was your race this evening?
That second race it took every bit of energy I had left after race 1. So, yeah, it wasn't like we weren't wheel to wheel in that sense, but Andreas had some serious pace, and I saw him practice, and like, yeah, I was definitely driving in my rearview mirror, always checking the distance, but it was just a case of consistency in the end, I think.
Awesome, and like you say, trying to carry the energy into the second race. Race 1 started outside the top 10, but fought your way back to P2. It must have been fun battling away, but stressful to say the least.
Yeah, I definitely had a smile on my face, but it definitely was stressful at the same time. And I think at some point we were 3 wide, and that's never going to go well at Brands Hatch. It doesn't matter where you are there at the track. So, but it was good, clean, fair racing by everybody. So it was really nice to have that and see, how much respect people have on the track.
Yeah, we were talking about it in the commentary booth. It doesn't matter if you're fighting for P1 or fighting further down the order, the racing's still clean and fair, and it certainly didn't look easy for you fighting through the order. You made up a few positions at the start, but after that, you really had to pick your chances.
Yeah, and I tried to be clinical really early on. I think fine with Bar is a case in point where it took like 6 laps, 7 laps. We were like door to door, and I think he got used to where I was making my overtakes. Where with other people, I tried to do it as quick as possible so they couldn't get settled with my pattern. And I think that's what really worked for me, is just trying to keep people on edge and not knowing what I was going to do.
Brilliant stuff. Well, congratulations on P2 and P1 this evening, Aaron. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you.
We'll go to Andreas Garlin, who had the reverse of those results. A winner in the first race and P2 in race 2. Andreas, it looked like the Aston Martin was very quick round Brands Hatch tonight.
Yes, it was very quick, I have to say. And it is an English brand, Austin, so I suspect it would be fast on Brands Hatch. And I really love the track. Yeah.
Well, it looked like you had plenty of speed. And how was that first qualifying session? Because we could see the track was damp or greasy. Certainly looked to have the pace over the competition. You had a fair few tenths in hand over P2 in that pole position.
Yeah, exactly. As you say, I tried qualifying on the wets in the beginning to lower the pressures, and it worked fairly well. I think I came P2, but then I saw Sem half a second faster, and then I thought I need to take the dries. And I overpressured them, and just in the end they came into the right pressures and temperature, so I was just steaming ahead. I certainly had a smile on my face in the first qualifying.
Well, so, the P race victory, obviously, you must be very pleased with that because, like we've seen at Brands Hatch, it's sometimes a case of whoever makes the least mistakes win. How did you find that first race, holding on to the victory and also seeing, Martin Pilkington climbing up through the order?
Yeah, seeing Martin coming up the order in the end, it certainly had a degree of stress. And yeah, this is my first podium positions here in SSRi, so I'm really, really thrilled. But yeah, it was just try to be consistent, as you say, even though it was really hard. I think I did a few mistakes here and there, but I hold on to P1, which I'm really happy to in the first race, and P2 in the second race.
Of course, you unfortunately are 17th in the standings at the moment, but a race victory and a P2 are going to do wonders for your position. Is that something you're conscious of, of your championship standings, or are you more bothered about just going out there and enjoying the racing?
It's both. I mean, I really would like to come up in the order, but I missed the previous race, so that wasn't too great for my standings. And then I had my fair bit of, how do you say, unluckiness.
Yep.
In the first race as well. And I haven't really been able to put down a car that is fast enough to take pole positions with these guys. And it's really hard getting positions because everyone is fighting so hard. But yeah, it's fair and great, and I really love it. I really enjoy every race.
Brilliant stuff. Well, thank you very much, Andreas, for joining us post-race, and congratulations on your first race victory and your first podium finishes here at SSRi.
Yes, thank you. See you.
Thanks, Andreas. And we'll go over to our second place man in the championship standings, Bart Verink, who finished third and third tonight at Brands Hatch. But you broke the streak of second place finishes. Unfortunately, didn't go one better this time. 2 P3s to your name. How are your races this evening at Brands Hatch?
Yeah, my intention was to make it 2 wins, but 2 third places is also quite okay. First race was not that good. I made the wrong decision with the tire pressures, so they were way too high, so I was sliding the whole race. Only the first lap was good for me, and I saw Aaron coming to the pack, and yeah, I could keep him behind me for a couple of laps, but the last lap, the first car, I made a mistake and he was gone. So that's a shame. Would have liked another second place, but no chance there. And second race, yeah, they were just too fast. And at the last couple of laps of the race, I just tried to make no mistakes, and there was nothing to win there anymore. So, but it was two good races for me. So.
Well, there's plenty of battling has been taking place out on track this evening. You were locked in fight with Dennis Workman for much of that second race. How was the BMW in terms of making those passes? Because we've seen that it's a very quick car in a straight line, but here at Brands Hatch, there's not many flat-out sections to really use that speed advantage.
No, it's only coming out of the corner. You have to have a good exit, and if that's better than the car in front of you, then you can try to overtake. But if that's not the case, you're sitting duck. So it's nothing to win there. You just have to wait for a mistake, and that's it. Nothing else. And because of the quality of the drivers over here, it's very difficult to overtake. So.
Well, congratulations, however, on your 2 podium finishes this evening. I look forward to seeing you racing next time out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bart. We'll go over to the final driver who's joined us in the booth this evening. That's Bas van Mellis. Bas, it was a bit of an up and down evening for you. You qualified pretty well, but it seemed that in the races you would drop down the order and fight your way back up. How were your events here at Brands Hatch?
Well, the first race was, like you said, the quali was very good. I was happy with my pace, and I went down on slicks quite early, so I could get used to the slipperiness. And in the end, I believe I qualified 4th in both races, so that was great. But obviously, in a tight knit pack like the championship is, there's a lot of speed, and unfortunately, the rear of the Cayman today said, "Please hit me." There were some people. Obviously, when you're fighting, some contact can happen.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was the nature of the racing this evening. It was very close and very hard, and occasionally there are a few hits and knocks here and there. But let's put tonight aside and let's look forward to the big event on the SSRi calendar. That is the 24-hour race this weekend at Spa, an event I'm sure you'll be very much looking forward to. How has practice been going for the event?
Yeah, definitely. It's obviously an event we're all looking forward to, and it's great that we can do it for charity. I believe that we're nearing the 10,000 euros that we've collected already for against cancer, so that's obviously great news. And if people still want to donate, obviously the links can be found on our socials and on all that thing. So that was the advertisement bit. And in regards to the practicing is going well. We're obviously gonna race at Spa, so we can be sure that we'll have both rain and dry weather. So with the setup, it's trying to search for a setup that's good in both weather types, which is quite difficult. Obviously, in the rain, I'm driving the Lexus. The Lexus is quite strong, but that compromises your dry time, so you have to find some sort of a balance. And that's what we're doing right now, but Koeners is not really helping us with the new BOP release tomorrow, because from what I've read, the tire model has been rewritten, so I'm hoping that the setups will still work quite okay.
That's
but we'll
exactly
see about
what
that.
you need. Yeah, exactly what you need heading into a 24-hour race is an entirely new tyre model to deal with. But Bas, thank you very much for dropping in post-race. Congratulations on your result this evening. I believe your race 1 result was actually a win in class, which is another AM category victory to your name. So congratulations for that, and all the very best for the 24-hour race this weekend, and send those wishes to the rest of the SSRi drivers taking part. Cheers, Bas.
We'll definitely do. Thank you very much, Tim, and have a nice evening. Cheers.
Thank you. Chris, fantastic racing all round this evening. We've seen side-by-sides, nose to tails. We've seen everything. We've even seen Sem Spenkelink pretty much spending a whole lap of Brands Hatch sideways. Some exciting racing from the GT4s, but we're all getting ready for the big race this weekend.
Yes, and it will be broadcast live, as opposed to being broadcast dead. I'm just shocked tonight watching all the close racing. I'm just lost for words and wondering what Steve and myself have let ourselves in for next season.
Absolutely. Well, we'll probably need a lie down in a dark room with a cold drink or potentially something stronger now, and you get the practice in next season when that happens. But let's bring the broadcast to a close there, though. Thank you very much, Chris, for joining myself, Tim Fulbrick, in the commentary booth. It's been another brilliant battle here at Brands Hatch. Aaron Martin Pilkington, though, proving that his BMW is still the car to beat. Thank you very much for joining us here on Simsport Racing International. Look forward to hearing all about the Spa 24-hour race this weekend. I'll certainly be tuning in. Hopefully have a clean race for many people and Kunos not causing too many problems. And until then, we tune in at the weekend. I'll see you then.